he said, Waldo, I heard what happened with you and your airman, your crew chief. I said, yeah, so? He's like, let me ask you something, Waldo. You know how long that kid was working on your jet yesterday so that you could do the coolest job in the world? I said, of course I do, sir. Come on. He said, no, you don't. You don't know a darn thing. I want you to find your oldest flight suit, put it on tomorrow morning, and walk the flight line with these young kids to see what they go through so that you could do the coolest job in the world. I said, thank you, sir. I saluted and went about my business and got up that next morning at the crack of dawn on that hot, sticky, sweaty flight line at a Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina, and I walked the flight line with these kids. And I did the inspections of the fuel tanks, went inside the intake in 105-degree weather, just like this young airman. I never worked so hard in my life. I didn't have a clue what these kids went through. They were enlisted. They were crew chiefs. I was an Air Force Academy grad, F-16 fighter pilot, officer. They worked for me. And so I went out on that flight line, and I started asking them questions. I said, hey, why'd you join the Air Force? Why'd you become a crew chief? I'm thinking to myself, mechanic? And they said, sir, we love the smell of jet fuel. We love working on these planes. There's nothing I could think that's cooler than fixing these jets than being a technology wingman for you. And then some of them said, sir, you know, I'm not really a big fan of this job, but I want to be a fighter pilot like you. I want to do a few years and get my GI Bill and go to college and get my degree and then go to pilot training and hopefully fly one of these jets. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. That never crossed my mind. It never crossed my mind that these young men and women who served me may have had a dream. Maybe they didn't have parents who gave a hoot about them. Maybe they weren't blessed like me. And maybe you've been in my shoes, slapping people around with your words, stressed out, maybe a little cocky, maybe your ego gets in the way of being a wingman and being a real leader. And then I did something that I hope would shift the conversation and shift our relationship. I said, I'm sorry for going off on you. And I worked on building that relationship, one handshake, one conversation at a time. And I don't know if I ever got his trust back, folks. Trust, tough to gain, easy to lose. Whose flight line do you need to walk? Who do you need to appreciate? Who are the unsung heroes? The analysts, the technicians, the folks answering the phone, the administrators who are out there helping you dodge the missiles and helping you land your leadership jet so that you can serve the other top guns in your squadrons. We have a saying in the military, lose sight, lose fight. Lose sight of your wingman. Lose sight of your James Haas Hyatts in combat. You're going to lose the fight. You got to stay visible. Get out there and connect. Ask them questions. Say thank you to somebody every day. Take them to lunch. Don't wait for a meeting. Have a cup of coffee and just connect with them, man to man, woman to woman, human to human. Just as Steve Wozniak said. Because here's why, folks. If we fail to check out Wingman 6, then our wingmen are going to check out. And in the world of flying fighters, where it's stressful and constantly changing, and in your world, where the stress and missiles are constantly coming, you need your wingman committed, pushing it up, and mission ready to fly with you to win. Commit, commit.